Hi everyone, this is Jann, and I have a little painting here that I would like to show you how to do. And this little painting is from my book, Jann's Fabulous Florals. Now this book is in oil painting, but I am going to do this painting in acrylics. And the painting we're going to do is this one right here. It's in the lavenders. I don't think we're going to do the bow, but we're going to do the flowers, and I want to do these little foliage here in the pattern. So we're going to be doing the purples, and for the paints I am going to be using the Mendenhall paints. That's these right here. I have a whole kit of these. Gosh, I must have 80 some little tubes like this. I bought it for Christmas when they had their specials. And the colors I'm using for the background is a white, kind of a flesh color, some grays, and some dusty blues. And then I have black over here in case I run out of gray. Okay, I put those out on a disposable palette. The first thing that I did was go ahead and wet my canvas, put the pattern on with graphite, and then I went ahead and wet the whole canvas so that it could soak up a little bit of the water. And while the canvas is still wet, meaning it's shiny, I went ahead and started adding the background. And the grays and the blues are in the corner, and the flesh tone is sort of in the middle here. Now I have a little spot right here that I saved so I could show you how to do this little background. And what I did was, I think over here, this is mostly blue over here, so I'm going to pick up some of this blue, and I'm just going to crisscross some of that blue in. I'm going to come right up to the flowers and stuff. Then I'm going to put some white. I'm going to pick up white, see, on my brush like that. I'm going to go ahead and mix some white down here and blend it right on in. Now down here, see, the color's a little bit drier, so I don't want a harsh edge or anything, so I'm just going to pick up a little bit of blue and re-wet that just a little bit. Now I think I'll add just a little bit of this flesh color. There we go. And as I blend, I can turn my brush this way, okay, like that, and then I can go ahead and really soften out those strokes so that it won't dig into my canvas anymore, and it'll just lay right on top and kind of blend and feather those out, so you get a nice blend on your edges, to where if I paint like this every time it's okay for laying it in, but when you're finished laying in your color, turn your brush this way and hang on to it, because you have a really light stroke, and that'll help blend out those edges that you might have. I still like my canvas to be a little bit choppy. You know, the colors, you can see it's still choppy up there, and then the bottom, okay, you can see the bottom there, but keep the color darker in the corners than what you have all the way around it. Make sure you bring your color right up next to those flowers and leaves, so we don't have any little bare spots of white canvas. Okay, so the color I have on is real light. Now once this starts drying, let it dry completely. And if you want to come back over it and redo some of the areas, you have to wait for it to dry. And you know it's dry whenever there's no shiny spots. That's how you tell. So if I wanted to come back over and redo, add a little more color here, then I would just go ahead and make sure this is dry, come back, re-wet it a little bit, and then just put some more color on. But you can add more color as you go along, and maybe you're finished with the painting, but we're going to walk out some greens and different things in here, so I tend to just kind of leave it like it is. You know, don't worry too much about it. It does have the color on it. Sometimes it's a little hard to see the color because the color is really light, but you know, if you've ever thought about using portrait colors, you know, like the little peach here, this is a watermelon pink, and they're good for portraits and stuff, but I love those colors. And it'll be really pretty with the different purples and the greens in here. These dusty blues, they're really pretty. You can see the different blue colors in here. One's cold gray and one is another type of blue. But I'm using these because I want to use them up, and I get a really good array of colors. It's unbelievable, all these colors, and I have all these colors of greens and stuff, and they're right there in a little tray for me, and I don't have to pick through bottles of paint or anything, so it makes it really convenient. Okay, just wanted to show you how to put on your background first. Put that on, let it dry, and then when we come back, we're going to start some of our leaves and stuff. Now, if you want to get my book so that you have the pattern in there and everything, you can find this book on Amazon. You can also find the book on eBay. It was published in year 2000, and you will get the color photos of what I have, and you'll also get the patterns. I'm planning on doing that one in acrylic also. So I know some of you have gotten the book. Look how pretty the pinks are. I'll be doing that one in acrylic. So what I'm doing is I'm just going through my book here. There's the pattern for the ones I'm doing now. Okay, so you have full-size patterns. There's the photo. There's several other kind of still life, kind of craftsy type themes. There's a little landscape one, and there's workshop sheets on here. I'm blocking in, and then there's your poppies. There's the same thing. So even if you're painting in acrylic, even though this is oil, you can still use this book here and just transfer it into acrylics, and that's why I'm showing you this, so that you can take this book and you can actually go ahead and paint these in acrylics. Okay, when I start the leaves, I'll come back and we'll go ahead and do a little bit more on this painting. Okay, I'll be back in just a few. Okay, we were back, and what we're going to do next is, you see these little shadow colors right here, right behind the green? That is done in a light gray. See those? And I have them everywhere that I have the fern, the foliage fern coming out. I want a shadow area behind that. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. And I just put my book to the side here so that I can still see it, and I pick up a mop brush here, and I have some of the gray here. See, I have a little bit of the darker gray here, and then I just put some on my mop brush like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some little fern-like foliage. This is going to be behind the green, so I don't want it too dark, but it has to be dark enough to show up. Okay, now there is some right up here. Let's see, we can put a little bit right up here. I may have to add a little bit of water to my paintbrush. If you get too much, then go ahead and just blot it, because if you get too much, it tends to bubble. Okay, and all I'm doing is pushing down and lifting up. See how if you get too much water, see how it'll start. I can see it from here. You might not be able to see it on the camera there, but it will bubble a little bit. Now if it does that, just take your paper towel, take it and just blot it a little bit, and it'll come off, and then it means you just have a little bit too much water in your brush. See, and then you come back with a little more color, a little more gray. Now I know it's Looks like it's pretty hard to see what I'm doing here. Let's see if I can move this up a little bit. There we go. And these are little branches of ferns that are going to come off. I'm going to put green over this. Okay, that one can go that way. And you just have to arch them like ferns, just bending. Don't have to be too concerned with this down here. I'm just concerned with having a little shadow behind where I'm going to have the green. Okay, there's the main stem. Okay, now come back, branch off some other little stems or fern leaves. And I'm just picking up more gray. See, just tapping. Okay. All right, go ahead and let all of this dry. And then when we come back, I'm going to add a little bit of green on there. And then we'll see how to put the green on. So I have some of the greens in here. And for my greens, I have used various lights and darks. Here's the light, medium, and dark, and darker. And then this is a little bit of a blue-green. Okay, so you want at least 3 different values of colors. That's how I paint in oil, and that's how I paint in acrylic. So whatever you have, just go ahead and use that. What I like about the Mendenhall paint here is I have a whole tray of greens. Look at this. This is all your greens, all down here and one up there. Look at that. Look at all those pretty colors. I love it when I have all kinds of options for colors. So that's what I did. I just picked out a light, medium, and a dark and put it on my palette. And that's what I'm going to go with. Now I do have an oval mop brush. Make sure your mop brush is oval. You don't want it flat on the end, because then you'll get a square stroke. You want it to where it's going to flare out, so it'll give you a bushy effect. Now if you don't have a mop brush, go ahead and use a filbert brush like this, where it's rounded on the edge. See, this one would be an oval also, and then that way it will also give you the rounded edge. These types of brushes, it's just like putting in foliage for your trees and stuff on your landscapes, and that's basically what I want it to look like. So I'm going to pick up some of the light color. I know you can't see that. And if I need just a little bit of water, a lot of times I'll take a squirt bottle like this and I'll put some little water droplets on my palette here, like that. Let's see. There's some little droplets right there. I'll take my color, got a dry brush here, go into the water droplets and just pull a little paint out and put it on my brush. That way your brush doesn't have too much water in it. And then I will start and I will go ahead and just lay this in exactly like I laid the gray in. Just little branches. I want some of the gray to show, so I don't want to cover all of it up. But get your light color on, come back. I'm going to go into some lighter color. I could add a little blue instead of the other color. Let's see what that would look like. Oh, that's pretty. Okay, we want a little darker though. See, because it's too close to the other color. And then I come back and I put on a medium tone or a medium color. Some of it's just right over. Right in here you want to keep it darker. Okay, then I'll come back with some dark color while it's start the dark back here, and then just walk it out a little bit like that. Pick up a few little water drops there. Start in the back here, walk it out. Okay. Now we learned this in some of our beginner classes too. Some of the students learned how to do this real pretty fern foliage. But it helps, you know, having the right kind of brush to do it. Okay, now you can see this one is more of a blue-green. So what I would do is just pick up a little bit more of the dark on my brush. Just pick up a little more, even more. There we go. See, now that darkens it up enough. Start in the back of that, right back here, and then walk your brush out a little bit. Okay, you want it the darkest color right next to your flowers here. Gives you depth in your flowers. Now if we happen to cover up all our gray, what we'll do is we will come back and we can tap in some more of that gray. Okay, now see that one came out a little different than this one here. Let me pick up a little bit of more of the blue gray right in here. Then that way I'll have it a little bit deeper there. Okay? Okay, get that much done. Come back. We'll be starting our pretty leaves. Okay, see you in a few. Okay, everyone, we are back. And I have completed a lot of the leaves, all except one here. So I wanted to show you how to do this one leaf here. And what I have done is I have a 16 flat brush, and I have a little blending gel right here on my palette. And what I did was put a little blending gel on the dry canvas where the leaf is, and I went past my leaf a little bit, probably about a quarter of an inch or so. Okay, and I worked it into the canvas. And then I go ahead and wipe my brush on a paper towel over here to get the blending gel off, and then I block in my colors. And let's say for my dark I want just a little bit of blue-green here, so I block that in. Now if you have too much blending gel, what will happen is it'll be real runny. If that happens, then just take a paper towel and blot it a little bit before you add your other colors. Now I'm going to take a little bit of some green. This is kind of like a bright green. Block that in. Wipe the brush off again. Then I want some of this yellowy green right here. And block that in. Okay, I'm going to wipe my brush off. Alright, and then what I'll do, I'm going to turn my work here to have the tip of the leaf up here, and then I put the vein in, the center vein right there, so I know how far to pull in. And then I'm going to pick up a little bit of this really bright green with a little bit of white in it. Okay, I wanted a real light green. See, real light green. And I'm going to tilt this so you can see it, so I don't, let me zoom in a little bit. Let's see, hang on here. There we go. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to touch my brush to the outside here a little bit, like that, and I'm just going to pull in. Touch. Pull in, touch, pull in, touch, pull in. Okay, remember, I have my vein right here. I like to keep the edges kind of jagged and irregular. And then I'm going to come to the other side here and I'm going to do the same thing. Now I want this maybe a little darker over here, so I'm going to pick up some of my darker color, load both sides, come in, and pull, touch, and pull. Now that put in a dark side. Let me pick up a little bit more so I can do this edge right here. That's more like a little olive green there. Don't lose the center of your line there. Come back in. I want a little bit of the white, more white on here. Okay, I want to edge this right up here, right there. Now these leaves will tend to grow, so start off with them small. Okay, now I'm going to blot my brush in a little water, blot it on a paper towel, and then I can come in and I can go ahead and put my little veins in. There's the center one, here's this one. If they don't show up, wipe your brush off again on a paper towel, and then chisel edge your little veins in. Now this is, it's a decorative type leaf, and I have other videos on my here that show exactly how to do this type of leaf if you want a little more instruction. Now what I can do next is take my palette here, and I want to highlight a little bit of this, maybe in some blue here. So I'm just taking a little bit of the blue, and I'm going to add a little white to that blue, a light blue. I'm going to come over here and I just want to edge maybe some of those and some blue. Okay, let me go back over here. Maybe I have a little edge right there. Let's see, right here. Just edge it, touch, and pull in. Okay, come back out. Still might want a little bit deeper. This blue-green. Let's come back over that with a deeper color. See, now it's deeper. Okay, so as long as it's wet, you can still add and you can still put in some colors. Okay, what if I put in a little bit of this peach color? No, this is on my background here, so maybe I want a little bit up here. Here's some peach. So you can add colors that you have in the rest of your painting. And when we get the flowers in, I will probably come back and I will add a little bit of the purples in there too. Alright, let me pull. Let's zoom this back out. There we go. Okay, there's all your leaves. Now I can see right now that one doesn't show up too much. So I'm going to come back in with a little bit of green and a little bit of white, the real light green and white. And I'm just going to come back, highlight that again. There, now it shows up. Okay, the blue didn't work too well. But you can come back and change those. You don't have to stay with the one color. You just have to kind of piddle with it and see what colors work for you. So go ahead and lay in all your leaves here. Got quite a few here. Now, if you want to come back, you have to let these totally dry, and it's going to take a while because we have the blending gel on the bottom of these leaves, and you can tell because, let's see if I can get a shine off of some of that up here. See the shine on these two leaves right here? That means that those leaves are still wet. So what you would have to do is you would have to let these completely dry. You can use your hair dryer and dry it, but you'd let them completely dry, and then you'd come back and re-wet it with your blending gel, and then come back and add your other colors in as you want them. And the blending gel just keeps everything wet for you because it's really hot here in California and everything would dry up. I'm going to turn this the correct direction. Okay, there's the direction of our leaves and everything. That big flower faces down this way. Okay, now if you need more instruction, go back and check some of my other videos that show you how to lay in these decorative leaves. And if for some reason they don't work out for you, let them dry, come back and redo them. You can redo them 50 times if you want to, okay? But make sure you go ahead and redo everything on the leaves before you start your flowers, okay? Because it's a lot easier. All right, everyone. Okay, here's my palette. All right, see how I got all those colors there? Okay, so the next time I come back on, we're going to be doing all of these flowers, and I am going to be using a lot of different purples, and we're going to intermingle them with pretty colors like you see on the leaves here. Intermingle them, then we'll come in and put our petals. So don't go anywhere. I'll be back in a little bit. All right, bye. Hi everyone, we're back, and I've started my flowers here. I have a darker peony, and then I have a lighter peony, and this one here is even going to be lighter. And what I have done right now is I have blocked in my peony. Now I am using a slow dry medium, this one right here by Winsor Newton, and I put some on my palette, and I mixed this 1-inch brush, it's probably a 3/4 inch brush, with some of the slow dry, and then I excuse me, went ahead and got out some purples. I have a light, medium, and a dark, and then if I go this way, I have the light, medium, dark that way. Then I have some blue here. This is the yellow that I'm using, a pale yellow in this, and then I have white up here. Now when I do the overstroking, I use a little bit of water in the corner of my brush, and I come in and I mix it into the pile of paint here. It has to be really loose when you do these overstrokes. Now I'm going to go ahead and start painting because my flower is starting to set up and dry, and I don't want it to do that. So I'm going to start up here. I'm going to go ahead and put it in there just so you can kind of see where I'm going here. I want this one is actually the lightest one that I have. So let's see here. There we go. That way I don't have to hold it up and I can keep it flat. Okay, you're going to do your arches on your petals, start in the center and then work your way out. Now if you want to see more instruction on this, where I go into a little bit more detail, I have several videos out there on my YouTube that you can check in. I'm just going to go ahead and paint and finish this one out before it dries up on me, and I will come back and I will also take some of that lavender and go over. I'll bring these petals over. Okay, keep your paint really creamy. Don't want your paint to be real stiff. Here's the center of the flower. Okay, now let's go ahead and do a petal here. This is going to be connected to the center. Okay, and we're going to connect a side petal right here. Let's get rid of those two right there. And if you get my book, it's going to have a pattern on there, and you certainly can go ahead and do your pattern on these. Makes it easier if you're a beginner. Now let's do the front. So I'm going to touch and pull down. This is creating the bowl of the poppy here. Touch and pull, touch and pull. I'm going to pick up more white here. Touch and pull. Let's bring that one right on down. You want that to kind of cup around like that so it looks like part of the front, and I'm going to put a few little petals right here in the center. That one's okay. We're going to have the purple come up over this one. We're almost finished with this one. And it's better to use a bigger brush. Like I say, this one's like a 3/4 inch glaze brush, but you can use whatever color, or not color, whatever brush you have that is this size. There's different makes of brushes. This one's a plaid one. It's an old glazing brush. I don't think you can even get it anymore. Let's bring a petal right here. Now I'm going to come back. Now I want that highlighted a little more white here. See right here? There we go. See, that's the center right there. That's where I want our little stamens and stuff. Let's go over that one. That one has too much paint on it. Now, let me clean off my brush right here, and I'm going to go into some of the lavender. Let's see here. I kind of like that petal. Let's see if I can. Nope, not dark enough. Let's just barely edge that one right there. Did you see what I did here? I'm bringing this petal out because I want it to connect here, and I'm going to bring this one around so that it looks like that petal's in front and that is in front. Oops. And I just picked up some of the darker purple. Okay. I'm going to leave that because I like that there. Alright, let's turn this around so I can see where. Let me zoom out here. Now the other thing that I did was I came back after this was dry, before I even started these poppies. I came and I glazed over these little ferns here because they just stuck out too much, and I wanted to make them feel like they were further behind, you know, like our leaves and stuff. So I came back with some of the background colors. See right here? I used those 3 colors right here, and I watered it down to really light, real loose. And I came back and I glazed over these ferns. And I glazed it enough so that, let's get this like that, the ferns now look like they're behind the leaves, to where before, if you go back and look at my videos, it looks like they're the same distance. So they were clashing between my leaves and the ferns. So I just came back and glazed over this with some background color, you know, your soft grays and your flesh tones, to tone that down. So now the ferns are in further behind than what the leaves are. So that's a great technique that you can do whenever that happens to you. Let's see, now the center parts here, as I'm looking at my photo here, my poppies came out a lot different. These are in oils, and these are more of a blue purple. So the only other thing that I would need to do is to put some centers in. I'm going to add some centers. I don't have any in these because the peonies are all petals, but, and I have some little berry things. I don't think I'm going to put those in. I'm not. So this is the painting that I have come up with. I have added the stamens here, and that's just with a liner brush and really loose deep purple. And then I used a medium yellow to put the little dots on. And the only other thing that I did to this was come back after it's set up a little bit and re-highlight some of these petals in the front here. We're really highlighting any petal that doesn't show up. And the one thing that I want to stress the most is whenever you're coming back, you're adding highlights onto your petal, make sure that your paint is really loose. I dip the corner of my brush into water and then I work that paint into my brush. Can you see this little pile here? It's very loose. So that when I come back and I want to highlight a little area here on a petal, it will show up and still look not dry. Otherwise, if you don't have a really loose paint, you will get a dry brush, and I don't want dry brush. So you have to mix a little water into, you go into the paint, you pull it out, and you work that into a little puddle here that is very loose. Okay, that's very important. You load both sides. Then when you come back and you touch these petals, see, you're going to get a really loose stroke on it. And it's going to blend in. It's not just going to sit on the top of your flower there. It won't be dry. It'll be real loose and it'll feather for you. That's one of the most important things that I need to show you, is to do your paint loose whenever you're doing your overstroke of your petals. Once you have your base coat down, that will also, that's what makes your petals look transparent. And I go out past where the color is. If you watch some of my other videos, I go out about 1/8 of an inch past and then pull in with the loose paint, and that will give you your loose petals out there. Okay? Also, those of you who want to sign up for classes, just Facebook message me, Jann Mendenhall, and I can set up classes for you. If you want to do this little painting, we can go ahead and do this little painting. Also, remember, if you want to purchase my book, you can go on Amazon or you can go on eBay, and they have my book on there. You can find it here and there. You know, it's 24 years old, so it's getting quite old. But the photos and everything are really wonderful, so this is the one I took it off of today. Okay? Also, make sure that you like and subscribe. That helps grow my channel, and it helps me and inspires me to want to do more paintings for you. I need to know that you're interested in learning this technique and the time and effort I'm putting into doing all these paintings for you. I love to do this type of painting, and I'm really glad that I have found a way to do it using acrylics, because I learned this method in oils 50 years ago, and it was really hard for me to figure out how to do it in acrylics, and it took me months to learn how to do it in acrylics, and that's what I'm sharing with you, is how to use your acrylics. So if you enjoy these, just let me know, and I will keep creating videos for you in these really lacy, transparent flowers. So thank you for all your support. Thank you for all your classes that you have called in and Facebook messaged me. I had a full classes last couple of months, so I really appreciate all of your support in wanting to learn this method of painting. So I want everyone to take care. God bless. Hang in there. This hot weather be over with pretty soon. Okay. And I will see you next time. Bye for now.